courteous gentleman.
Courteous.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the camera.
Right. How we doing? Are we in focus? We good?
Yeah.
So let's rap about a couple things. Manny's
Rap.
going to join us.
Yeah.
Rap.
Man.
Okay, so first things first.
Should
We caught a little guff.
I play the picture? Should I play the... Go ahead. Whatever you're saying right now.
You can
I'm
play
not
the
really
Godfather theme. Like, is there a horse head getting up in
No,
the
I'm
bed?
saying I'm going to play what you're about to talk about.
Okay, so we had a little guff that we received from a certain viewer who will remain nameless, who I've never seen before. I don't think you have either.
I don't know if you'll see her again either.
It's kind of the way it goes. Like, a lot of people bump into our Q&A Saturday and they're like,
Accident.
yeah, they're not fans, and they check it out like, what's this? And
Yeah,
then
really,
blah, blah,
like,
blah, blah, blah.
I don't know why you would spend time watching a long ass show if you're not interested.
Because she was probably conflicted. She was like,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued and highly annoyed.
At the same time.
I don't know which one to go with. I think she went with annoyance.
I think annoyed's her.
Annoyance won out. Annoyance won out. So, anyways, let's just talk about a couple things real quick. So,
Go ahead.
So here's the deal. So this this viewer, do you want to read? it?
No,
Or-
no, gosh, no.
So this viewer was a little upset that, hi guys, was a little upset that she saw Laura on her phone throughout a vast amount of the filming. Belle, go. A vast amount of the filming. She, I think, assumed, like maybe some others have assumed in the past, they're shaking the table. Guys, go. I just saw this like jiggy-diggy-dee.
That's what I'm saying.
Bad dogs, Junior. Anyways, and so she was saying, I really wish this girl would have contributed more. She's sitting there basically like on her phone, playing Angry Birds, being annoying, not contributing to it. Why the hell is she there, right? So we've talked about this in other episodes. I've hammered, this one home a few times, and I've even like hard time Laura because I know that's what a lot of people see. Now, if this was a laptop that Laura had in her lap, people would be like,
Or
oh.
a notepad.
Or a notepad or an iPad. If she had an iPad, people would be like, oh wow, she's actually organizing, coordinating the show. But since it's an iPhone, everybody's like, oh, she's over there texting or Facebooking or Snapchatting or doing something else. Careful, Junior. And the reality is that Laura's got all the questions. She's organizing all the questions, and she's got specific notes about different things she wants to hit in the show.
And that because I edit the show, so I have notes that I'm writing for the future.
Totally forgot about that.
If I'm editing and I forget something that we did during the show that I wanted to like comment on or cut or add to or add like one of these fancy things that we add up here, I make notes on that stuff. So
I think that's a really important part that I don't think a lot of people realize. So because Laura's editing, the worst thing you can do as an editor, because I've got tons of experience in the editing post world, is that you just have this bunch of footage and you've got to wade through and try and make sense of it. But this smart girl over here takes notes as we go and says like, this moment was good, this moment, we can probably get rid of whatever. And so I just want to set the record straight, all right? You guys here with me? You guys here with me? This girl over here is working her ass off. This, turn around, show them what's going on. It's not Angry Birds, right?
Q&A Saturday.
Right, it's Q&A Saturday. So, I get, hey, people are entitled to their opinions. We don't have to dig them, right?
She's not. She's stupid. Sorry. Like someone else commented on there. Like, I'm so sorry.
That was the plane, or that was the car, the buggy that was headed for the high road. Like, we're headed for that road, and then it tumbled off the cliff.
Just like the girl who helped out.
Watch out for the flip. It exploded when it hit the bottom. Sorry.
There was a friend that commented on it. It was like, oh, I'm so sorry, like you pay their salaries, so.
Yeah, there was somebody who was pretty supportive about it, and I tried to take the high road. Laura had a leg in each camp. She was little pokey, little proddy.
It's hard when someone else doesn't do their best to do your best, but you do your best to do your best.
I'd say for me, the hardest part is not that, like, that's a valid question.
Sure.
It's a valid question to be like, is that girl like on her phone doing whatever? But there's kind of a snarky, malarkey, not a nice thing behind it. And that's really the problem. Like, if hang on a second, if you've got a question about what she's doing, no, I'm not trying to cut you off, but like, if you've got a question about what she's doing, that's fair. But to assume that she's doing like crappy, shitty, tuned out work is like, what? Assuming the worst. And it's just kind of a crappy way to go through life.
Yeah.
So not trying to like...
What if I had like a friend in the hospital or something and I was like keeping tabs on things? Like, you just don't know about
the guilt
stuff.
angle.
Just
the
saying.
guilt angle.
You have no idea what's going on with people's lives. That's why people that say shitty things usually have shitty lives.
So
I'm just saying, it's true. Everyone watching agrees.
Hey, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, like, we went to harsh land.
No.
We went to like boom.
I'm not like commenting on how she looks or who she is.
I didn't say you were.
I'm just saying, like, people that say shitty things and look for shitty things have shitty lives. It's just how it works.
Yeah.
I've been there. I'm not like putting myself out of it. I'm saying, like, when I've been in my most cynical, snarky, let me find the worst thing wrong with this movie.
Critical.
Yeah, I've definitely been there in my life. Let me go watch a movie and like pick it apart afterward. And I'm just miserable.
No, and I think we can all identify with that.
Yeah.
That's just the human condition, is that when you're not happy, you look for other things to be unhappy about other people. So
makes you feel good.
I get it. I'm just going to present it in a little bit more of a delicate fashion.
I'm
good
very
cop,
delicate.
bad cop.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, so just to clarify, this girl's kicking butt. She actually holds the show together. She's presenting the questions to ask me. She's making sure we stay on track. She's running the freaking timer. She might be texting like Fingers of Fire style, even in between all this that you don't know about.
Yes.
And she's also doing edit notes. So there's a lot going on over here. If you guys would prefer a laptop, somebody please send us a new Apple Air book or whatever the hell it is.
Apple Air?
We'll get right on that.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Right?
Yeah, maybe we need to do
Maybe we could address that lady and ask her if she would send us one of those out.
Hey, look.
Right? Anyways, so that's what's cooking here. Next, I want to thank every one of you for all the support. Super amazing. All the numbers are going up on the show. They're flying. I mean, I know we're not at like millions of views for each episode, but we really plateaued at like 450 to 500, and I kind of sat there for a long time. And we've been working really hard to put new stuff out, like lots of like micro content, pieces of Q&A Saturday, and little different pieces of information that we think are easily digestible, but super helpful and super valuable, and can really add to your guys' life and how you train your dogs and work with your dogs and live with your dogs. So we've been hitting that really hard and really being creative about all the different stuff we can do. And that, along with the show always getting better and getting better, we've seen numbers of doom, and they're really moving, and it's pretty cool because it kind of plateaued for a while. And
but 450 or 500 people watching a show of this length talking about dog training is awesome.
BS.
Yes.
Right?
Tons of BS.
And nails and you know, whatever video games you're playing. So, right? So it's pretty awesome. And I don't think we can thank you guys enough for like sticking by. We're in like episode 88, so it's like we've been here a long time, and it's just super awesome to see that you guys keep supporting, and more people are joining it, and it's really great. And I just wanted to take a moment for both of us to say thanks. We really do appreciate you, and it ain't just lip service. It's a real live community, and we're seeing real live ripple effects coming out from a lot of different people, whether they're in shelter, rescue, foster, or training world, or just owners that are sharing information and improving things in the dog and owner world, and we just couldn't be happy about that. So that's super awesome. And then something else I was just going to wrap about, and we've talked about this a bunch of times, but I'd love, and I know you would love, to get some video progress from anybody out there that's like, use the videos, right? Whether it's the paid for DVDs or if it's the free videos, anything. Any of you guys out there that have done some work and made some progress and seen some good stuff happen, boy, we'd love to see those videos. Laura can tell you how to hook it up, how to send it in.
Yeah.
Was it just Dropbox?
It's just Dropbox. If you don't know how to use that, just email me at this address up here. But Dropbox is super easy. You just sign up for a free account just with your email address, and you get a free gigabyte, and you can upload videos. If they're shorter than like a minute, you can email them to us.
Yeah.
But it's really easy, and it would be so cool for us to feature anyone on the show. You know, we've seen that stuff before, and it's just fun. Or even like if you're asking
And it inspires
question,
other people too.
Yeah, it really
Other
does.
people that are like, free videos, like my dog's really bad, and then they see your dog and they're like, wow, that might work for me.
We get so many clients that talk about that. They're like, even clients that don't even come through our door, but clients that are like, I watched your videos, it gave me hope, I went and found a trainer, or I, you know, trained myself, or whatever it is. So that's just, it's super cool. If you guys are, you know, supportive of this type of training and supportive of everything that we do and that you do at home, then showing that on a wider scale is always cool.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Cool. And with that, we're going to jump into the show. Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog. And this, to my left, still featuring Old Faithful Cranberry.
yes.
Right?
Raspberry cranberry.
Raspberry. It's not really cranberry, it's raspberry. Featuring raspberry, sometimes cranberry, the lovely Laura Morgan, and her miniature little computer device that she uses to run the show. Thank you so much for joining me again.
Yes.
Do you want to flash them?
Episode, no.
Oh,
we're
I
going.
thought you were going to flash your nails. Okay. Which number do I do?
8. It's only 8.
Oh, look at that. I can't lose. Ready?
Let's go! Come on! Episode 88. Even
Boom.
I am annoyed with the BS today. All right.
Okay. It's been a long day, guys.
It has been a long day.
Been a long day.
It has.
Shawnee's worked his behind off.
Yes. Question number 1 comes from Cristina. Cristina says, hi, I have a 19-month-old GSP.
Which we learned is not.
A German Shepherd puppy.
See, we all learn on the Good Dog Q&A.
I don't know who said that, but it's a German short-haired pointer.
Just to clarify, in case any of you get confused.
Okay. He resource guards affection. This means, or she resource guards affection. This means if she's near a human or being loved by a human and another pup dares to come near, she snaps at them. She's gotten much better, but there have been times when she doesn't warn that she is about to screw up, so it's hard to prevent her from reacting. She's also a bit afraid of dogs as they approach and needs enough time to sniff and be sniffed. She may have developed this behavior due to being bitten by an adult dog when she was about 5 months. We were off leash, the dog came bounding over, and we thought it was going to bow and play, but instead it bit her. So she may think she's being protective and preemptive. Having said that, she's also super playful with dogs, even after she tells him that her human belongs to her. So she's setting limits on dogs herself.
Yeah.
She loves humans of all kinds and has many doggy friends, but our walks would be more relaxed if she could be less anxious and possessive. Hope you can help me address. Hey, Cristina.
Whew. All right, coming out of the gate with a tough one. All right, so I wrote lots of notes. This actually has both our names on here, so feel free to jump in if you feel that I'm not covering things sufficiently.
You always do, but yes.
Here we go. So the reality is that dogs do what they've been either trained or allowed to do.
Yep.
It sounds like your girl has been both trained and allowed to resource guard, feel empowered, feel entitled, set limits for other dogs, get snotty, get nasty. That's what happens when there's a ton of affection without corresponding discipline, rules, accountability, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You send a dog off in one direction of like, I'm the king of the world, and there's never the other side, or there isn't the other side of the equation that keeps them in balance.
Right.
So my suspicion, without ever meeting you or your dog, is that the affection has been like a 9 or a 10, and the discipline, structure, and rules has been, maybe a 2. That's not so good. Bad ratio, okay? So let's see. So your dog's been allowed to guard without consequence. So she's been trained it's okay. Once again, that's kind of building off what I just said. And when I say been allowed to engage in that behavior without consequence, that means she's done this thing and there's been no negative reaction. There's been no uncomfortable, there's been no discomfort for guarding, being snotty, being bratty. The way you change this stuff isn't complicated. you've got to change how you interact, got to change your affection, got to change freedom and structure, but you also have to lay down the law and say, like, that thing you just did, oh no, we don't allow that. And you have to find your way within whatever program, whatever protocols, tools, approach that you're going to find your way to correcting your dog for behavior that's inappropriate. If you do not correct a dog for making snotty, nasty choices, you will continue to see that stuff. And it will only be exacerbated if you share a lot of affection, freedom, access to your personal space, and think that the dog's the cutest, sweetest thing in the world. Meanwhile, it's possessing and being snotty. So, you want to jump in with anything?
Yeah, I was just going to say that's not comfortable for a dog. I think a lot of people get in this thing of like, oh, well, the dog's protecting me, loves me a lot, so he's like letting the other dogs know. Like, imagine being in that space just as a human, like having to like, I think a good, maybe like your boyfriend or girlfriend, right? What if everywhere you went, you were like with your boyfriend, like, he's mine. He's mine. Like, that's not a good place to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm already stressed.
For everyone. But it's not comfortable for your dog to be in that place of like guarding and sort of like, that's anxious. All that like...
That's unfair responsibility.
Yeah, it really is. That's the perfect way to put it. So your dog's having to do something that you should be handling, which is like actually not allowing any of that guarding stuff to make your dog more comfortable. Because that stuff starts to unwind. That's the other thing.
Who's supposed to protect who?
Yes. So you're supposed to protect your dog, is that right?
Right?
Yeah.
I just feeding your lines.
Yeah,
just for fun.
and it's a young dog too, right? 18 months or something?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Adolescence, starting to move into more snotty, empowered behavior, stuff like that.
Not to scare you, but what we do get, 19 months, yeah. So what we do get are clients that come in maybe 6 months, a year from now, where you are, and then when they're telling us the story of how it led to like the dog getting possessive enough to bite humans or do something like that, it usually starts with like, well, she never did it until, you know, she was always protective of me, but never bit.
Right.
And then all of a sudden she did. So,
it was always kind of like low level stuff,
Yeah.
and then adolescence and maturity kicks in,
Right.
and all of a sudden, hey, how'd we get here? Why is my dog attacking other dogs? Why is my dog growling at other people? Well, all that stuff starts to change when you fed in a bunch of stuff without the corresponding good stuff, especially in puppyhood and adolescence, and then maturity kicks in, you get trouble.
and already she's got some trust issues with you guys because of that experience with the dog. Not your fault. The dog ran at you, and you guys had
when
that.
the dog got bit.
Yeah, like that's bad, and that's, I'm not trying to blame you for anything like that, but you guys already have an experience that's kind of insecure between you, so you need to step up even more. You can't be the softer one that she protects because she's already a little bit compromised around dogs, so she's afraid of them. She's all these things that we start to see, that nervous, insecure. So by you stepping up to the plate is what we're after.
So my suspicion, built off of what Laura just said, is that if I was a gambling man, and I've been known to gamble occasionally,
Gambled.
I would gamble a lot of money that there's a lot of leadership lack and a lot of small moments that are going by, and maybe even bigger moments going by that are reinforcing to your dog that they can get away with just about anything they want. Now that doesn't mean that your dog's the worst behaved dog in the world, might come when you call, might do a lot of things that it wants to do, but the stuff where there's excitement, jumping in and out of the car, pulling on leash, recalling away from dogs, things like that, I'd be highly shocked if all of the other little components, the small moments and the big moments of good, rock solid, awesome dog behavior was rock solid and awesome. We honestly, I don't know if we've ever seen that where a dog has come in with all of that stuff and still has the corresponding issues. So I would say it's leadership time, big time. It's time to step up. And like, if you're not prepared to change that, if like that stuff sounds too hard, if it sounds like, oh man, I've got to jettison like being in my loving mode and I've got to adjust and tweak, and that doesn't sound juicy or exciting, you're probably going to struggle. You're probably going to see the same stuff go on, and it's probably, like Laura said, it's going to get worse and worse and worse as the dog matures. So go after small, tiny moments. I can only imagine how many conversations are missed that are important, that are getting by you guys. And you can go to our videos and you can really scan through a ton of do-it-yourself videos to get the nuance and detail you need to be able to shore that up and put your dog into a good spot. So can we link up the videos of, what is it, the Good Dog Training?
Yeah.
On YouTube?
The YouTube, yep.
Yep. So check that out. And then I want Laura right now, this is going to get fancy pants style, to fly in what I said just the other day, maybe a week or two ago, talking about owners. Whew, man, that seemed like it was a 20-minute conversation. It's one of the most important things I shared about owners that are getting possessed and how that I don't mean possessed by the devil. Owners that are getting possessed by their dog and why that happens, and that it's owners that allow that to happen. And I think this like 30-second or whatever it is, little ranty thing I do, I think it will have a nice impact on you. So hopefully Laura will fly it up. Don't forget to link it in. Dogs don't compete or possess or try and own leaders. They compete, possess, and own human beings that are up for grabs. So that's kind of it. The last thing I had was that, Laura even touched upon this really early. You were talking about her being anxious on the walk. You want her to not be anxious? Lead her. Give her information, structure her walk, have her walk in a heel. Don't let her sniff where she wants to sniff. Don't let her pee where she wants to pee. Don't let her stare at dogs or people in an untoward fashion. Walk like this, do what I ask, and watch the stress and anxiety melt away, and your dog will get into a far better space.
Different thing. Yeah.
Cool.
Let us know how it goes.
Yep.
All right.
Nice.
Thanks.
Nice teamwork on that one.
Thanks. Okay.
Do you like answering together? Do you like the joint stuff?
Yeah, I love it.
Or do you like the press? Do you like the spotlight?
No,
you don't like the spotlight.
I feel like we're in a session when we answer jointly.
Yeah. This
cool.
takes us back to our roots.
I mean, we've been having more roots lately, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like we've been like, sorry, don't swish your we've been like working more. No, we've been working more.
Big time for that.
Working more sessions together.
Yeah,
That's been fun.
we've been taking it back to the old school.
Yeah, we've got a lot more stuff going on here, so picking up slack where we can, and it's cool.
And business is booming.
Business is booming, man.
Like the boarding, the training, everything's it's coming together so nice.
It's so fun.
And this place having so much space to train dogs, multiple dogs.
Our team is so awesome. You couldn't ask for a better
It's really coming together, isn't it?
Yeah.
We made a bold move. When we pulled out here, not to sidetrack this, but it's just kind of cool to celebrate it. We made a bold move and an instantaneous move when we drove out and saw this property.
Yeah.
We had like moments. The owner was like, "Well, I'm showing it to somebody else in a
like
couple
10
hours,
later.
or a little while later."
Yeah.
And we're like pulling out. We're like,
We'll take
it. And it's been the best thing we've ever done because it's really helped expand and give us a lot of room to do even better work. So. Nice work. Okay, cool. So let's move on to Danielle before this turns into a marathon.
Okay, question number 2 comes from Danielle. Danielle says, I have an energetic 60-pound, 4-year-old female mixed breed that's very sociable. In fact, she absolutely loves going to my neighbor's house whenever she can.
That is sociable.
She can clear our 6-foot plus cedar fence in a matter of seconds, and she'll occasionally bolt out the front door to run the neighborhood thinking it's a game of chase the dog.
It's a fun game.
We adopted her from a local shelter about 2.5 years ago, and she's very smart, loving, and playful, but unfortunately we have to either take her out on leash or turn her out in the dog run so she doesn't jump the fence and escape. She loves to check out other dogs to see if they want to play, and occasionally has dominance issues with other dogs, like plays too rough or mounts. How can we break her from these behaviors? She has lots of energy and needs to be able to run and play with our other dog in the safety of our backyard. However, due to her excellent jumping skills, it's not possible. Your help would be much appreciated.
Okay. If I had some Indian food, I might wake up if it was fiery enough.
Get it.
Just saying. Okay. So Danielle, let me jump into this. Laura, feel free to jump in as well. I know you've got a lot of like fence expertise and stuff back when you were doing masonry work, back in the day, putting yourself through college and stuff. A lot of stuff people don't know about.
A lot of stuff you guys would never know.
But she's a badass. She can build a wall, fence, whatever you need. So. Here's a couple choices. I'm going to read these through. I always write down notes, you guys know, because this brain is a porous thing, and I want to make sure I get all the good stuff to you. So, first thing, like my friends Rob and Melissa, they've got 2 pitties, and they've got pitties that have got some pretty good jumps going, and so they have standard fencing. They're out here in the Chatsworth area. They have standard fencing, but what they've done is they've added, I don't know if it's a plastic acrylic, it's not acrylic, it's some kind of plastic fencing extension. It's not cheap, but it goes all the way around their fence, and I would say that it might raise it, maybe even, I don't know if you guys can see.
Couple feet?
Yeah, it might raise it about 2 feet, and it's slick, so it's like virtually impossible to get over. So that's a little pricey, but it should really enable you to keep your dog in I was going to say the lot, in your help me out. In your yard thing. And so that's one possibility. A little more dough, but it can also look decorative and kind of cool, and it keeps out nosy neighbors. So if you're going to barbecue, it's like, hey, hit the road, hit the skids, buddy. We're barbecuing, you're not invited. So that's one of the things. There's also, if you look up on Google or YouTube, and you look up like coyote fencing, I'm not sure if that's the exact term, but there's some pretty simple kind of concepts that you can use, a lot of people will use to keep coyotes out of their yard, right? And basically what you do is you get, I'm trying to remember exactly how it looks, but like I said, you can look it up and get the real details, but you string a wire, like a strong wire, across certain, portions of your fence, and then you take PVC pipe and you put it on the wire, right? And so the wire is elevated, like here's your fence top, the wire's here, and the PVC tube is here, and it rolls. And so anyone trying to go in or out, they get to the top and it rolls and they can't get out. And it's pretty darn cool, and it's not super expensive. Take a little work to install it, but once again, don't take my word for what the name is or the exact design, but that's the overall concept. And a lot of people, especially in high like coyote areas or other wildlife, sorry about that, they use those to great effect. So that's another option. Now, e-collar train your dog, right? So we've got keep away, which sucks. Nobody likes the keep away game. Highly dangerous, not good for your dog, not good for your relationship. I would at least get a mini educator, train recall, use our free videos. You can link them up here. Bing. Cool. And just go for the recall stuff and check it out. And that should help change the psychology of your dog. Like once dogs learn that you can call them back, changes a lot about like whether it's chasing dogs, squirrels, or jumping fences. So that's one piece of it. Now, in conjunction with that, once your dog's conditioned to recall back to you so you don't get the chase game, you can do that stuff at thresholds. Nothing's better for like dogs that bolt out of thresholds or anything like that than to have them on a line and then like let them like go out through the front door and recall them back in. Out through the front door, pretty soon they're like, crap, I'm not getting anywhere. And then all of a sudden that value, that attraction, that magnetism towards the thresholds goes away. So, where was I at? So I was talking about, e-collar, sorry. So then in conjunction with that, the second component is direct addressing. And that's once the dog's conditioned, if I would just hide out, like it's always like some kind of nefarious activities, camouflage it up, hide out, look out your kitchen window, be at a fairly high level, you watch your dog starts to go like to make a move to get out, pop, and your dog goes, whoa, like trying to get out the fence, hot and uncomfortable. Do it too low, your dog won't care and he'll try and get out. So you really want to go higher levels and create a real inhibition about trying to get out. We do it a ton of times with dogs that come over to either of our facilities and are like, hey, starting to eye a fence and taking a shot at it, I'm going to make that crystal clear. Do not try and get out that fence. And the clearest, easiest, simplest way to make that happen is to make jumping towards a fence very uncomfortable. And what happens is they stop doing it. So I think that is the end of that conversation.
Recall.
So,
and also like the dog sounds kind of just amped in general. It's kind of playing too rough with other dogs.
A little bratty.
Like once you have that e-collar, like even if you're just teaching recall, you can do really like low level corrections. Like I'm talking lower levels because not what you're going to be doing for the recall or for the fence stuff, but just like if there's weird stuff like we were talking about last week, I think like Cujo can get a little weird with like Manny, and maybe even if he's playing with Hercules, sometimes he'll like get a little too rough.
Yeah.
I'll tap it like 5 on the collar, which is nothing for him.
You just brutal abomination of training.
But all it is a tap on the shoulder, like, okay, ease it back.
Yeah.
So if she's super conditioned to the collar and she knows what it means, that means like spending a lot of time with that, because you don't want the association with the dog, thinking that the dog is actually doing that, then you can actually correct at really low levels to kind of remind her like, hey, you can bring it down a notch.
Yeah, there's few things once a dog is appropriately conditioned to the e-collar as easy as saying like,
knock it off,
just take it down. Don't blow the dog's mind, start low, and watch your dog go putting the paw over or the neck over or posturing or being just rough. Not so much fun.
Work.
And then all of a sudden it just changes.
Yep.
Keep us posted, okay?
Let us know.
Let us know.
Okay, guys.
Hi, guys.
Indian food, so that's out of the way. Question number 3. This comes from Sarah. Sarah says, hi guys, love your work in the show. First time asking a question. I have recently adopted an 11-month-old former stray Staffy mix who I'm trying to prepare for a dog sitter when we travel. She's e-collar and crate trained and has good basics on sit, come, place, down. When visitors come to our home and I put her in a long duration place until she's very relaxed, sometimes over an hour, until I allow her to greet. She's always been fine meeting new people in the house this way. But when, for instance, a cleaning person came in without me, she went ballistic, barking and lunging while in the crate. The dog sitters met her and walked her with me, and my pup was friendly and social with her, but we're planning on a couple of dry runs where she comes in without me before we actually go away, and I was wondering what the best way to approach that would be to set them up for success. Thank you so much for your logical, intelligent approach to working with the dogs. The world needs more people like you. Oh, that's so kind.
That's very sweet. I don't know if we qualify for all that, but
I mean,
we'll take
logical and intelligent, those are big words for
us goofy BS artists.
Silly BS artists.
Okay.
But Sarah, you're awesome. Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, you really are awesome. And the first thing I want to say is really nice work on the training.
Yeah.
Like very few people are like, yeah, my dog knows e-collar this, this, and this.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some, but that's just fantastic. 2, thank you so much for the kind words.
Yeah,
we appreciate that so much.
Yep.
Having this community support us. I know like not everybody is down with all of the tools and approaches. It's so nice to have this rock solid community that gets it and supports us, and we super appreciate you. Now, that said, let's see, what have I got here with this, hang on, what did I say?
I see this all the time.
Oh, right. Thank you. I need interpretation for my own writing.
You can write C, but I can tell.
Okay, right. So that's why she's here. So we do see this all the time in our own kennel, right? Which basically means, thank God for interpretation, which means that like we can sit here and work with dogs and spend 3-4 days and everything gets rosy, and then Tony will show up and Tony has no familiarity with them, and he'll step into the kennel, he doesn't say hi, doesn't address them, doesn't do anything, and we might get explosions, right? And that's because the dogs aren't familiar, aren't comfortable, they might have territorial stuff, they might have nervous stuff, they might have fearful stuff. It's just very common stuff. So I just wanted to let you know you're in good company. We see similar things. The good news is you can absolutely move the dog through that stuff. So, let's see. Really, like the answer that we find, like it's kind of just common sense and not super complicated. And that's basically if we were bringing in somebody to watch our dogs and our dogs were like maybe a little dodgy or something like that, I think the only variable, the only thing that I would want to be looking at, the only thing I'd be wanting to make happen is a lot more interaction and a lot more familiarity.
Yeah.
Because that, when I was just telling you about our kennel, and that why Tony gets guff and why the rest of us don't, is because there's more familiarity with us.
Yeah.
We show up every day, a couple times a day, take them out for potties, take them for walks, trust builds, comfort builds. Somebody new comes in, what's this, territorial, whatever, freaking out, all that kind of stuff. So I'd really like to encourage you. I don't know how much time you have between now and vacation time, but I'd really like to encourage you to have your dog sitter come over as much as possible, walk your dog, hang out with your dog. Don't try and be like best friends and hugging and like baby talk, any of that crap. Please don't let them do that. Just have your dog sitter in a neutral, easy, relaxed, chilled out fashion lead your dog. Here's the walk, here's the thresholds, here's place, go lay down. What you'll see is when you've got a dog that's got these kind of skill sets already trained like that, and then somebody takes over and starts saying like, I need this, this, and this, you'll see a dog slide into a different group with that person and automatically start to kind of like connect to them in a different way. So
all you have to do, even if your dog, I mean, it may cost you money or it may cost like them, you know, all that stuff to have them come over. Even if you were leaving tomorrow, I would have the dog sitter come over tonight and work the dog for an hour. Pay for them just to work the dog.
Great.
Put them in place.
Great.
Call them around just like you do. That's exactly what the sitter could do. I would be comfortable leaving my dog, especially in your state. It's not like you have like this dangerous dog, right? So you have a dog that just gets unfamiliar and uncomfortable. So right away, dog sitter comes in, you teach her, even if you just teach her really simple knowledge of the e-collar, dog come, place, good. Walk away, dog come, place, good. So for a while, when I wasn't around as much working with the dogs hands-on, because I was more on video projects, I would come into the kennel, and I was used to knowing all the dogs. And
what's up, buddies?
And they would all like, you know, be weird around me, or if I had to work a dog, wasn't familiar with it. There's no way I was just gonna sit in the room with the dog. What I did, let's go, take them out, start working them, do a training session with them, and then after that, no problems.
Yeah.
So the work is better than any relationship you can build over time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and what she means by relationship, she being Laura Morgan, what she means is not trying to like, let's be friends, let's create treats, let's do belly rubs, let's do kissy
make the dog
face.
uncomfortable.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a great way to pressure a dog and make a dog feel like, what are your intentions?
Yeah.
Why are you trying so hard?
Yeah.
Like dogs literally think that.
Yeah.
You come out nice and cool hand Luke and be like, this is what we're going to do, this is the program, these are the protocols, these are the tools, these are the rules. That dog's going to be like, cool, this person knows what's cooking, and I'm going to fall right into line. And I think you'll see dramatic different changes in your dog's choices and behavior around that dog sitter if you do a little bit more work with this stuff. And then the last thing I was going to close it out with, I'd love for you to knock out that stuff going on with the cleaning lady. Whether that's like scheduling it where you're going to be around and you can hide out, or if you're out like in the front yard and you've got a drop cam or a baby cam or anything like that, and then like so you're not there to create any change in the dynamic. The maid walks in, dog lights up, e-collar's on.
Was the dog in the crate at that time?
Yeah.
Or? Oh yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure. Dog lights up, e-collar correction, knock that crap off, right? Let's not just work on getting the dog comfy with the sitter.
Yeah, no.
Let's work on getting the dog into a space where the dog is respectful, calm, relaxed, and feeling not so like territorially inspired. Like I get that dogs have that in them, but like my dogs could be in a crate and you could walk in here and they're not going to explode. They're not going to growl, they're not going to bark, and maybe some people will be like, well, that's what I want dogs for. Well, then you need different stuff, or you don't need to ask questions about this, but I don't think that's where you're at. So set it up with the cleaning lady and make sure you go after that. E-collar on, e-collar will go through the walls. You could be sitting out front, baby cam, through the window, whatever it is, and start correcting your dog for that and teach them, we don't allow that in this house.
Yeah, no.
And watch what your dog does. The next time the cleaning lady comes in, your dog will be like,
No. And if you're not home and your cleaning lady, you know your cleaning lady, and your cleaning lady is obviously responsible enough to be in your home when you're not there, you can always give your cleaning lady a short tutorial. Like if you're on the e-collar mini, red button, you know, dial it to like level whatever is right for the dog to not be exploding at the cleaning lady. Cleaning lady walks in, dog explodes.
You could even lock it. You could even lock it at like
you can
35 or 40 and be like, here's the level.
Yeah, whatever level your dog works, that you know works. You didn't give us really any example on that, so we don't know what it could be. It could be 15, it could be 60, whatever it is. So the cleaning lady walks in, dog explodes, cleaning lady just says, no, pop. Right?
Dog goes,
Oh, I have to listen to her too. It's just not comfortable for your dog to be in that place of having to guard or feel weird about people. It's not a good sign.
Yeah.
So
it's the stressful stuff that a dog let out of the crate in that state will go and bite somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's how that all it loads and loads and loads and loads until one day, whether they get off leash or somebody comes in the backyard or in the front door and you get a bite. So let's address it, let's get it done, and then do a lot of like exposure and familiarity and like work with the dog sitter. You should be golden.
Yeah, cool. Let us know. Nice work.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is a tough one, guys.
Get ready.
This one's like
Get ready for some serious,
like a little
smart
sweat
answers.
towel.
Question number 4 comes from Miss Nadia.
Yes.
Nadia says, hello all, thank you so much for looking at my question. I'm a trainer and I've come across a difficult one. So quickly, because this one's a long question, so I'm going to kind of paraphrase, but this is the GSD that's already e-collar trained, high anxiety when seeing other dogs.
Yep.
Friendly off-leash, but on-leash the whining leads to barking, lunging, and freaking out.
Yep.
So she's gotten him past the barking, but the whining's still there. She's moved to a dominant dog collar, but it's a lot of labor intensive, like she's having to use it a lot. Every time I go over and do pressure up and pressure down when settled, it's great with dogs in the own house as well as outside over and over, but it's like Groundhog Day, I think.
Yeah. I love that movie.
But it will be labor intensive for the family, obviously. The other thing we're doing, nothing but calm and control exercises. He can work on e-collar levels low, but then once anything anxiety or excitement raises his levels to like 40 or 50 for even small stuff at the park. Even after doing like tons of low numbers. He was on an e-collar before he came in, but just doesn't respond to anything except really high levels that call vocalization. I keep him in a calm state and I try variations of high, low, continuous taps combined with the dominant dog collar. I've seen you work these types of dogs and I'm just wanting your opinion. He's just an anxious, whiny dog, and basically like she wants to get to the point where he can be corrected with lower levels on the e-collar, but it just doesn't seem like it's working.
In the cards.
And then the higher levels are just amping him. So basically, and then a side note, I can control and I can teach his owners how to control him, but I want to go.
Are the higher levels amping him?
Yeah, she's saying,
Okay.
that the higher levels are just getting tons of vocalization and nothing's working. I can control him, I can teach him, his owners how to control him, but I want to go deeper into actually helping his state of mind rather than him being controlled so they can go more places. Yep, that's it.
Nadia, you laid a big one on us.
We only have 6 minutes, so we'll do our very
so we're going to do our best. Woo-wee! So, okay, a couple things that I wanted to rap about before we even let Miss Laura in here. So, there's no getting around the fact that some dogs are just more challenging than others. Like you really have to, like, as badass of a trainer as you might be, as good as we might be, as good as a lot of the other folks I know that are highfalutin trainers in the world, there are still dogs that come through that no matter how great of tools and protocols and approaches, still struggle. I know trainers that have recommended dogs don't be walked anymore because the reactivity is too intense. I mean...
Really?
Yeah.
Don't walk him?
Yeah.
Oh, like Scooter?
Scoot Star?
Yeah.
Right? So there are dogs that are kind of 1%er dogs.
He's like a 0.01.
Right? But they exist, right? And so when you've got a dog like that, you have to make sure you give yourself enough space, enough break emotionally, not to put too much pressure on yourself that it's got to be like, we've got to find the resolution. And I know the good dog does it. Well, the good dog doesn't always have a perfect outcome, right?
No.
So it's really important that we have like a nice reality check here, that we do really good work. We deal with a ton of reactive dogs, and we've got some really great strategies, but boy, it's not always a cakewalk, it's not always perfect, and there's a lot of dogs that go home that need like home visits from us to go and try and sort it out because they're dogs, and they get home, and the associations with their owners and their home environment lift them off. So that becomes less about mechanics and training and much more about relationship and dynamic and associations and perceptions at home, which is bad news bears and the hardest thing to deal with. So I just wanted to set your mind at ease that like we all have challenging dogs, and so I don't want you to think that you're missing some kind of magic component, right?
Right.
Beyond that, it's also important to think about, like, this is one that's easy to get away from, I think a lot of us, is that besides Junior claptrapping around endlessly over there, is that progress can take time, right? This, like, we've had so many owners where we've like sent home dogs that are like good, but still like need a buttload of work, and they're still on the precipice. Relationship is still dodgy. They're still aroused around their owners. They're still pushing. They're still like dancing a little bit on the line with reactivity and things like that. So I think it's really important that everybody checks in with the possibility of slow progress as continued work and effort are put in. You could be shocked at what your owners get 6 months down the line. What you're getting right now might be one thing. 6 months down the line, they're like, I can't believe how great it is, right? If they're doing their work. If they're not doing the work, you're probably going to get the other phone call, which is like, things have fallen apart. So I wanted to add that, not as like a Pollyanna, like everything's going to be great, but it's really important to know that like even the greatest trainers that I know have dogs that come through that pose serious problems and struggles and challenges, and it's not always perfect, right? So let's just get that out there. So beyond that, I wouldn't worry or focus too much on the higher number stuff. As the dog's state of mind escalates, the whole point of the e-collar is that it's flexible enough to fluctuate with that state of mind, right? And ultimately to beat your dog to that state of mind, cap it, and bring it back down. So this is a German Shepherd. Your German Shepherd working inside the house with low distractions is probably going to be working at a very low level. Take that dog outside where he starts to get stressed or anxious, seeing other dogs or other critters or anything else that might inspire him, you're going to see levels dramatically change, like you shared with us. I can't remember what the numbers were, but they were pretty dramatically different, 40 or 50, something like that. And it sounds like that's unnerving for you, and it might be unnerving because the way you have to present it to the owners is like, yeah, we're working high, and like, I like to train low. Well, that's great, right? But check this out. We train very, very, very low, very fairly. We like hold the dog's hand and work them through the program so they get it all 100% super clarity. But then there comes a point where you have to ask for accountability once a dog knows what's going on. And if you don't, you actually leave the dog stuck, like stuck in the lurch, or is it stuck in the lurch? Yeah, stuck in the lurch. You leave a dog stuck cycling where they can't get out of it. And it's simply because state of mind, drive, intensity, escalation, all of that is up here, and then you're correcting down here, and that has zero value. If anything, it's going to lift your dog up more, right? So, and I know a lot of this stuff might be redundant, might be stuff that you know, but I want to check in, tune up, and make sure that all of this stuff is stuff that you're tackling. The dominant dog collar can be really, really helpful at taking the gas out of the tank. Doesn't need to be something that you use forever. I know it's work intensive, especially for owners. It means like e-collar tool, and it means like leash, or, you know, one leash or two leashes, you know, one to a prong or one to the dominant dog collar. It's a pain in the rear. But if it ends up being a means to an end to get a dog to a good space, man, I'm all for it. We've sent several dogs home with like what we call the emergency brake, which is like leash and prong, e-collar, and then a short traffic leash that's connected to a dominant dog collar for any monkey business, so we can take this and bring it down to here. So those are some important points. I'm just going to roll, and then you can jump in as soon as I'm like kind of okay, I'm going to try and rock and roll through this. So
we're out of time.
So okay, so stop focusing on those numbers. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel like you're doing a shitty job of training. Those levels are, like we always say, let the dog tell you what levels you need. Don't worry, don't focus.
Higher and whatever.
I get it. I get it. We've got a couple dogs here that are working higher than normal, and it's like it can be a difficult conversation, but like you want to show the results that the owners are looking for, and you don't do them a service, you do them a disservice if you don't use levels that the dog cares about, because then they just cycle, right? So I also think that this is also a big reflection of your dog's or of this dog's overall state of mind. I would be shocked if this dog was like rocking and rolling in every other context.
Total like light anxiety inside the house. That would be my biggest note, would just be like making sure, I know you're doing tons of calm, you said calm and correct, but we didn't hear much of what's going on like inside.
In the house.
And I'm sure you're doing all the obedience and stuff, but duration with this type of dog, where tons of stuff is going around him.
Major distractions. And not just place, but like recall, get your rear over here. Yeah, there's a dog, there's somebody knocking at the door, get your rear over here now. Place, don't move, lay down, don't move, all of that stuff.
No whining in place, no
zero
whining in the crate,
please.
No barking in the crate, no even like standing up and pacing in the crate, all those like loading types of things. Then you take them out on the walk, which is the World Series, and you haven't even practiced that much during batting practice.
Yep. So your whole gig is to create leverage. You hear me talk about this, or you hear us talk about this a million times. Create leverage everywhere you can, and leverage is small little moments where you address significantly to where your dog goes, I want to make a better choice. I want to make a better choice. And then like Laura says, when the World Series happens, you've already created this nice foundation. You've got an opportunity. So sometimes the big stuff, and we've had this with shepherds multiple times, and it can be an unsavory, unpopular concept, but it's like you step out for thresholds or the first initial heel, and your dog starts to give you like worked up, pushy stuff, and you nail them at a nice high level, and your dog goes like, he hasn't even gone to like, you know, Pluto with all of his excitement. You catch him at that split second of arousal, and you nail him at a good level, and your dog goes, well, I got it, I really want to think about it. And so the next time it sees a dog or anything else, it starts to think about it. So those are some strategies. I would want to make sure that the owners inside the house are absolutely kicking ass. If they're not, and you're just out there doing like hero work, and the owners are kind of like doing partial, half-ass, letting things slide, not going after small moments, man, you're gonna struggle, and the dog's gonna struggle, and there's no getting around that. So
we gotta wrap this one.
Yep. And something I find helpful, you asked for, I just want to get this one piece out. Something that I find helpful, and I know you're asking for specific kind of strategies, is setting up like barky, triggering dogs, and then having the dog that's your problem dog on a long line, starting at short distances and starting to recall that dog off of the other dogs, then releasing them, letting them get closer, recalling them off, get closer, recalling them off. And what you do is you desensitize the dog to that desire to go. And it's amazing what can happen psychologically to dogs when they recalled off of dogs. Like Polar Bear, that was like a huge thing for him when he had, well, like he needed some like higher stuff I can recall, but like getting him to a point where he was like dog behind fence, screw everything, and then all of a sudden correction, he's like, let me come on back, and then that would create future inhibitions about better choices. So
last thing just for me, we got to wrap it, but another thing about whining shepherds, sometimes it's great, it's just 180s on a prong collar. Trying that out? Yep, just physical pressure, but also like getting them to tune in. I've used it with several shepherds, and it always.
What about 180s with e-collar? Do you ever do that?
I've never done that. What I'm talking about, more that physical pressure from that prong kind of gets them to tune in.
A startling kind of like pressure.
Yeah, so that's a possibility.
That's a good point. And a lot of folks don't realize that 180s aren't just about like focus exercises. They're really about de-escalating arousal. And so when a dog's walking and you pop like with two hands and move the other direction, it like takes all of this like
really focused on you too.
And brings it down. And that can give you a doorway into making great stuff.
All right, thanks,
Nadia, like you got your money's worth out of us.
Let us know how it goes.
Okay, last one.
Okay.
How you feeling? You revved up and ready?
Exhausted now.
You're exhausted?
Exhausted.
Question
number 5. Oh, what'd you say? I'm sorry. Question number 5 comes from Amanda.
I'm just asking how your life is and if you're happy and all that stuff.
Super happy.
Okay, great.
Just exhausted.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just kidding.
Oh, okay. Amanda, I'm just going to have a quick question about my Weimaraner. She's doing well.
What is it, Weimaraner week?
Last week is Weimaraner week.
Okay.
She's doing well with the e-collar training and did well with my friend who stayed at our house for 2 days. Whenever we're home with her, she stays in place for a long time and usually just lays there or sleeps. But if she's in the kennel, she's usually standing and staring until I tell her to lay down. She's also starting to chew at her paws while in the kennel and has some sores. I'm thinking her kennel anxiety might be due to it being too big of a kennel for her. Is that a normal reaction to too much space? Also, I'm wondering if giving her a deer antler while I'm gone will help her not chew her paws.
Only if you tape them to her paws.
Yeah.
To where she can't lick them.
Okay, I'll eat this instead.
Put like oven mitts on there. I mean, you can try it out. I don't think people are creative enough. Okay, so Amanda, this is going to be me and Laura both answering this, so I'm going to try and jam through this because I've been a little bit long in the tooth, right, LaDawn? So, bigger crates and spaces often create more anxiety. It's just the way it is.
Yep.
Dogs that are allowed to have more free roaming in the house typically are more anxious.
If they tend towards that.
Yeah. Not every dog, right?
Yeah.
But dogs that tend towards that tend to be more anxious and more destructive and more stressed and more freaked out.
Right.
So I would absolutely diminish or restrict the size of the crate to where the dog is really much more inclined to go in, turn around, and lay down and be quiet and chill out and sleep. That would be what I'd be shooting for. I practice patterning a lot of downs in the crate, and I think you might have mentioned something about that, but I would be doing a ton of that, like go into the crate, down, and I would eventually want to get it to go into the crate, tap, dog goes down. I want to create an auto down, pattern that to where the dog gets out of, like any dog, that's why we do auto, this is a really good point, that's why we do auto down to place. Because we don't want dogs sitting in place like this, all tense and uptight. Like that's the worst space.
Yeah.
But a dog who's like place and then relaxes has a much better chance emotionally of making greater choices. So that said, lots of downs in the crate. The sores and stuff like that, we definitely see from anxious, high energy dogs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fairly common thing. I'd say like making sure that you combine calming exercises with some really good actual physical exercises might be able to help blow out some of that steam and then combat it and balance it out with a lot of calming exercises. That would be an approach, especially if you got a high energy dog. That would be an approach. Like if you didn't take her Cujo out and run him every day, and you just had him do quiet stuff, he would handle it, but he would be coming out of his skin.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
So I'd say that that's also a good thing for you to check out. Definitely try offering the antler or a Kong if she'll chew on it. A lot of dogs that are anxious or stressed, they don't want anything to do with it, right? You can toss like beach balls and you can toss, anything in there. And the dog's like, great, if you're not here to play with me, I don't care about any of it and I'm stressed out. So
I'd just be careful about that anyway. Like antlers, I know they're good. Dogs can't like pull pieces off, but I've left bones before in crates and dogs have gotten like sick. So I would just be cautious about that.
The antlers seem to be pretty safe because they're very slow. You can only get so much off of them. They last a long time.
Cujo got sick from it.
Okay, but Cujo's a special case.
Yeah. The other thing that, I don't know, can I jump in? I was just going to say, when we have dogs that do that in the crate, we put a cone on them, a soft, comfy cone to get them to stop licking their paws.
Comfy cones are awesome if you haven't seen them, by the way.
Yeah. So they're just like, it's basically like what they, the Elizabethan cone if your dog gets a,
operation or something.
Yeah. But it's soft, so it doesn't like hit everything.
Yeah, and they can actually lay on it. It's comfy and all that good stuff.
So we put that on dogs that have licking stuff because sometimes the anxiety stuff is like whack-a-mole. You start getting it out in other areas and then you start seeing it come up in different things. So actually by wearing that comfy cone, they can't get to their paws and then the habit kind of goes away. It's kind of like when you put the bad stuff on your fingernails, so you stop biting your fingernails and then you don't want to because it's there and then the habit's gone. So it could get rid of that habit. It's not just managing it. If you have her wear it every time she's in the crate, it could help out with that stuff.
It could. Anything else you want to add?
No.
I have a few other things.
Go on.
Okay, so antler or Kong if she'll take it, right? A lot of dogs won't take it, but maybe like you do the Kong with the frozen peanut butter inside. Who knows? Maybe she'll get into it. But I'd love to see you do like a lot more work in the crate with those auto downs, but then also try this to augment it. Crate door open. This is like an old-fashioned technique that works a lot. Crate door open, dog is in a down stay, and then you can leave the room, but the dog doesn't move out of it. Like crate doors open, I can get out, but the dog holds himself back. That's also very valuable. I'd like to know how the rest looks, which is like the walk, recall, sit, down, place, thresholds, all that. If you don't have that stuff rocking and rolling, what's going to happen? It's not a fair enough answer.
Why are you asking me these weird rhetorical questions?
No, because it's I want to get your input.
Yeah.
So if the dog's got all this like anxiety stuff going on,
it's going to show up in the crate. Yeah, that's exactly what we're saying. So like you're doing all the work. We know that you're.
I just want to hear your expertise.
Oh, okay. I'm just listening because we're running out of time. This is a long episode. So basically, if you get the anxiety out in the other areas, you're going to have less anxiety in the crate. So working towards, getting the dog to be more calm everywhere. And I know you're at the beginning of the process, so that's just going to take some time. That's why I say it's like whack-a-mole. Sometimes you see it come out in different areas. So correcting it or getting a cone on or something like that is something that we do.
Right. And we're basically talking about the walk, thresholds, recall, any of those behaviors. Look for the very, very best stuff. Any pushing, any like whining from place, anytime that you see a dog not in a good spot and pushing, correct, go after it, don't feel guilty, don't feel bad. That's how you get a dog to go into the crate in a different mode. Last thing I'm going to say is make sure you balance out exercise into the equation too. And you don't hear us always talk a lot about exercise because most dogs get a ton of it and not the other side of it. But I'm not sure what your balance is, but if you've got a young dog that's kind of a little bit nutty, let's get the dog out, let's do some exercise for some portion of the day, like maybe it's a 20-minute thing, but then the rest of the day, a lot of work, a lot of calming exercises, a lot of chilling the brain out, a lot of respectful behavior, a lot of listening, a lot of towing the line, and watch what you get when that dog has like some good exercise to burn off, tons of leadership, tons of structure, tons of rules and accountability. You're going to see amazing things change, and you should see amazing things change in that crate. So, and if not, send us a message and we'll retract that whole statement. All right?
All right.
Any giveaways?
No, nothing today.
I wanted to give away like a hot date with Manny.
Oh, I thought you said hot date with me.
Well, you too. So
no,
either
with
one.
You. I thought you were saying I wanted to give a hot date with me.
No. I'm not giving away a hot date with me. But Manny, also known as the tree trunk. We could.
Tree trunk?
Yeah, Gidget was like, he's the handsomest tree trunk I've ever seen.
He really is a tree trunk.
So
awesome.
If anybody's interested and you have to be in the neighborhood, but not forever, but just for a hot date, you want to go take Manny out for like a little walk or something like that, or for the movies or dinner or something, he's happy to join you. All right?
He'd love it.
And all the money goes to, I don't know.
Us.
Yeah.
To pay our salaries so we don't look at our phones.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much. Laura Morgan,
nice work.
Sorry it was a little bit long. But
in the tooth.
It was long in the tooth. But the reality is, these were pretty hard questions.
Yeah, they were.
And we tried to dive in and really give you guys top value.
Always, if you hear your question answered and you want more in-depth stuff, we always offer phone consultations that you can book with us.
Yeah.
It's not even that expensive.
No, it's a goddamn deal.
It's a deal. You get an hour.
You get to sit and rap with us.
Yeah.
Like,
you can show us videos and we kind of go down your own specific problem.
Not family videos, but dog videos, right?
Yeah, so that's kind of fun if you ever want to do that. But.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, and then the last thing before we close out, we are on the cusp of reshooting all of our do-it-yourself videos.
Yes.
It's going to take a little bit of time, bear with us, but we are going to overhaul this whole thing. Sorry about my cursing. I'm intense. I'm intense about this. We are going to overhaul this with the whole goal, the whole intent is for it to be the best, most valuable, free access point for training that you can get anywhere on the net. And that's what me and you are going to knock out.
10th high five of the episode.
I love it. That means it's a connected episode.
Hilarious episode.
Nice work, lady.
All right. Thanks,
See you guys.
We'll
See you next week, okay?
Bye.
Bye.